Property has genuinely changed my life. It's been a passion of mine over the last 10 years. Before I was able to buy property, while I was buying and building our property portfolio, and now helping clients here in the Greater Brisbane market secure their own home or an investment property. In this video, I want to talk about why it's not too late for you. The economy has changed, interest rates have changed, and the strategies to create wealth may have changed in some ways. So I want to talk you through my journey the last 6 years and share with you some of the lessons and teachings from my experience and talk about how you can do this in today's environment. If you're looking to buy your own home or an investment property in the Greater Brisbane market, then head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a free chat with myself. And if you're looking to grow a multi-million-dollar property portfolio anywhere in Australia, we also offer a course for less than $800, so you can pick that up by clicking course on our website. Now, let's go all the way back to when it started for me, which is probably around 2016. Emily and I were married in 2016, and we had about $5,000 to our name. We were both still studying. We got married as I finished university, and I studied a Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in accounting at the University of Queensland. And so I was coming out as a spring chicken, as they say, into the job market, looking for my first job in accounting. Now, why did I pick accounting? Why didn't I do property development or engineering or something else? Well, I always wanted to be in business. When I sat down with my careers counselor in high school, the conversation kind of went like this. What do you want to do, Luke, when you grow up? And I said, I want to run my own business, and therefore I already know I'm going to do business at university. And that's why I went down the accounting avenue. Getting my start as an auditor, I earned around $45,000 to $55,000 and then $60,000 in my first 3 years at the accounting firm between 2016 and 2019. So not a lot of money. Well, really not a lot of money. And my wife was on very similar wages as she graduated university a year or two later after we got married in 2016. And we saved and we saved. So we were renting in a small apartment on the south side of Brisbane in a suburb called Holland Park. And we were saving as much money as we could. We were using vouchers at Hungry Jack's, discounts at Domino's to save our money and to get together a deposit to try and buy our first home. Now, we broke into the market in 2018 and we had a $66,000 deposit. After buying that property, we added value through renovations. And this was one of the ways we significantly fast-tracked our journey compared to the everyday Australian. We were willing to get our hands dirty. And so we were just paying for materials and creating value through sweat equity. We also saw the market grow. So the Brisbane market grew from 2018 to 2019 and 2020, somewhere between 6 to 8%. And so between the market growth and the value add that we'd done on the property through our renovations, we were able to refinance that property 2 years later. Now, this snowball effect is very slow to begin with. As you're looking to create wealth in a property portfolio, it's most difficult in properties 1, 2, and 3. As your portfolio gets to our size like it is today, where we've got 4 houses in Brisbane and a unit block in Coffs Harbour with 5 dwellings on it in that case, we've got around 9 dwellings in total across 5 properties. And so it's a lot easier for us to pick and choose and refinance equity here and pull debt out there and have a bit more serviceability because we've got strong cash flows from our property portfolio than it was back in 2018 through to 2021. Now, you could say to me, Luke, you got to jump off the back of a COVID boom. And I could never have predicted the COVID boom. Anyone predicting a COVID boom, they're probably lying to themselves, let's be honest. But we were also bullish on property over the long term. And so we weren't making a 1 to 2 to 3 year decision. I clearly remember buying in April 2020 when we bought the Baby Queenslander, which is a renovation series here on YouTube, that people were saying to me, Luke, you're crazy. The market's going to crash. We're going to fall 15 to 30%. And the reason that Emily and I went ahead with that purchase and took on the renovations is 1, we could see that we could manufacture value. And 2, we were buying in a very blue chip area. It was built up with no oncoming land supply, and that was located in a suburb in Everton Park. And we sold that property 4 years later, basically to the date after purchasing it, for a significant profit. And I'll click the card, I'll put a card up here if you want to go see that video, and me breaking down the sale of the Baby Queenslander located at 25 Leach Street in Everton Park. So we sold that property this year, and that's also been part of our strategy to focus on growth first and then cash flow second. The reason we go for growth first is you want to build your capital base. You want to go from 1 to 2 to 3 properties. And where most people stuck is they don't have the equity. So they get stuck because they don't have the capital to buy that next property. And so if you're able to buy property number 1 add value and see the market growth and then refinance and pull out some equity, then you'll be able to buy property number 2. And in our case, we renovated property number 2 and saw some market growth. And so we were able to refinance property 1 and 2 to buy property number 3. And so that's how we bought our own home here where I'm standing today. And we bought that property in September 2020. And another 12 months later, we were able to refinance properties 1, 2, and 3 to buy the unit block in Coffs Harbour for $1.4 million. Now, if you told me 5 years earlier, as an auditor, earning somewhere between $45,000 and $60,000, that I would be buying a unit block for $1.4 million in 2021, I would have called you crazy. But now we understood the blueprint after doing properties 1, 2, and 3, and we had the strategy of capital growth and cash flow. That's how we were able to create life-changing wealth for myself and our family. Don't get me wrong, it is a lot of hard work. You need to understand the numbers. Property is heavily a game of finance. And so I have a significant advantage being a chartered accountant and understanding balance sheets and profit and loss, and understanding exactly how to structure the property portfolio to optimize our journey as best as possible. And we really haven't made too many mistakes. Our biggest mistake, if we look back on how properties changed our life, was when we tried the short-term flip project in 2023. There's a series out there on YouTube that we created called How to Flip a House in Australia, and we did make a profit on that project, but nowhere near as much as if we just held the property through multiple cycles or held the property for multiple years. We made about $15,000 when we could have potentially made about $50,000 to $150,000 if we'd held that property for 2 to 3 years. We bought that property on the north side of Brisbane in a suburb called Aspley, and it was located on Ferrier Street. And it was a great learning experience for me, and it might be why some of my hair fell out, because I had alopecia trigger in 2023 as well. So now's probably a good time to mention that, because I've had a few comments on the channel recently, and if you're watching this far through the video, you're obviously interested in our journey and how we can help you in your own journey. And that's why I don't have any eyebrows at the moment. It's because I've got alopecia areata, which is an autoimmune condition which takes away your hair. And so through 2023 in through 2024 this year, I went completely bald at the start of the year, and then I had some hair grow back, but I got very sick and was hospitalized with pneumonia. And now I'm, looking a fair bit better in my opinion, looking a fair bit healthier. I have some hair on my head, but obviously very patchy in certain spots, and no eyebrows, but it's all superficial. Now, coming back to what's more important, just so that's a bit of an update about myself, but how has property actually changed my life? It's actually given me choices. It's given Emily and I choices to go on holidays. We were able to go to Europe last year, and we plan to go to New Zealand soon and Bali, and we're going to have about 8 to 12 weeks of holidays a year rather than the standard 4 that you would get in a day job. Now you might say, Luke, you sacrificed your 20s. You gave up all of that good time you had while you were young, and you could have been out on a backpacking and a Kentucky tour. Well, I wouldn't say that my time's been wasted. Emily and I got married at the age of 21 and 20, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love her so much, and I'm so glad that we've been able to do this journey together in building our property portfolio together. Yes, you might see my face on YouTube and on the business, but really it's a team of Emily and I in building this property portfolio. And so let's dive into some of the key takeaways. Now I've given you the full recap of our journey and where we sit today. We're sitting on a $7.5 million asset base with hundreds of thousands of income, which I'll break down for you in a video at the end of the year where I'll give you a portfolio update, giving you the detailed numbers on our portfolio cash flows. But our portfolio sits around 7.5 mil. We've got significant amount of capital there in terms of equity, and we've made 2 more purchases this year in 2024, 1 property in Bray Park and 1 property in Shayla Park, both north and south of Brisbane City, with the ability to add granny flats and add value to those properties down the track. So how can you take what I've done and apply it to today's market? Well, you still need to save. You still need to create disparity between your income and your expenses. Now, over my first 6-7 years of my career as an accountant, I earned $45,000, $55,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, and $120,000. And Emily was on pretty much identical incomes through her first 6 or 7 years of her career. So we didn't earn as a household more than $250,000 before we created a $5 million property portfolio. Now, the one thing you probably haven't factored in there is all the sweat equity. We probably created hundreds of thousands of dollars of sweat equity. Now, the great thing about sweat equity is we didn't have to pay tax on that money. Because we're pulling out debt, using equity refinancing against the property, we don't have to pay taxes on that equity. And so let's say we spent $50,000 on a renovation. Property number 2, the Baby Queenslander, we spent about $35,000 to $50,000 on those renos. But the market value was a $100,000 increase. What that means is if I'm able to pull out $80,000, because you can't pull out 100%, you can only pull out 80% debt, I'm able to get that $80,000 without having to pay tax on it. And I can use those funds as a deposit on the next property purchase. And so to get into the property market, you'll obviously need to save a deposit, but then once you're able to get your foot in the door, it's about fast tracking your journey where possible. Now you might be happy to take it slow and build a property portfolio over 20 to 30 years, which is absolutely fine. You don't have to try and fast track your journey to the 10-year horizon that Emily and I had targeted of being financially free by the 10-year mark. But if you want to speed up your journey, adding value, whether you're doing DIY or you're organizing trades to add value to the property in a cost-effective manner, is going to be a great way for you to fast track your journey. Some people like to chase fast growth as well. So they'll look for hotspot suburbs and then look for quick market growth to allow them to buy multiple properties. The problem with that is you've got to make sure that short-term growth areas also tick the long-term fundamentals, because you can end up chasing regional markets, areas that are being pumped up by investors. And so you're just going to be wary of the risks of chasing short-term growth rather than, in my opinion, which I like, the manufactured value strategy in an area that's primed for really good mid to long-term growth. And so that's why myself and the team specialize here in the greater Brisbane market. So myself and 5 staff members buy here on the ground 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, and we help clients acquire the right home for the right price in the right location. And so look at your own borrowing capacity and look at the equity available to you if you own a property, and work with an investment savvy mortgage broker to help you structure your finances to help you make that next stepping stone. So for us, it was buying 3 blue chip assets in the inner middle ring of Brisbane. And then we went and bought a big cash flow asset in the regional market of Coffs Harbour. And that's how we balanced out our property portfolio. If you want to have a chat with my specific mortgage broker, Nevada, you can find his details in the description below. Nevada and the team at Cube Home Loans are experts at helping investors and homeowners create wealth for their families and find the right products in terms of debt with the right banks at the right time. That's what Nevada's and the team have been able to do for me and Emily these last 6 months. We've actually refinanced several of our properties, looking at different banks, looking at different lending options, and choosing the right debt to give us access to equity and to help us make these acquisitions both on the north and south side of Brisbane this year. Understanding the finances is going to be critical to helping you scale the property portfolio from $1 to $2 to $3 million plus. Most Australians are going to get stuck at 1 to 2 investment properties. And there's been a lot of talk about using trust structures to extend your borrowing power. And that can be a valid strategy for some people at some certain times, but you still need the deposits in a trust structure purchase. And you also still need to be able to fund or prove that that trust structure is positively geared. And you still need to contribute money if the property is negatively geared. So it's about building that strategy. Now you can do this yourself. There are, I don't know how many videos I've got now, 700 videos out there by myself. And as you would know, if you're watching my videos, you're probably watching a bunch of other guys on YouTube who've put out hundreds, if not thousands of videos themselves about property investing in Australia. And there's lots of different strategies. There's just buy blue chip, there's just buy cash flow, and I'd probably sit somewhere in the middle. Blue chip first and then cash flow second, and balance out your property portfolio. If you're a high income earner like a doctor or an anaesthetist and you've got 300 to 500K a year, then just buying set and forget properties and putting your money away into the markets is probably gonna work for you. If you're earning 50 grand a year, you're working retail, you're just starting out in your job, you're 21 like Emily and I were, and you wanna fast track your wealth creation because you don't wanna be stuck sitting at a desk from 9 till 5 every day, then you might need to look at manufacturing value through DIY and being creative with your finances. So everyone's journey is going to be different. But in this high interest rate environment, are there any key takeaways that I would give you in this current market compared to when we purchased back in 2018 and then in the lower interest rate environment in 2020 and 2021? The key things I would say to you is be careful with your liquidity. Don't put down 20% if you could put down 12% and give yourself more liquidity. A lot of people get stuck when they're actually run out of cash. And so if you can protect your liquidity in certain circumstances, this can help you put further deposits down to grow your asset base faster. And so think about paying LMI in certain circumstances to extend your borrowing power. And think about using that capital to add value to the property and then instantly refinance back out if you've got the serviceability. So protecting your cash is very important. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's very important to have the right broking team as well. So work with the mortgage broker because you're getting serviced at 7, 8, 9%, even 10% with some banks with the serviceability buffers. You need to find the right broker and the right balance of capital growth and cash flow properties to build out your property portfolio in this environment. I absolutely believe it's still possible to build a multi-million-dollar property portfolio in today's interest rate environment. If we were sitting at 9, 10, 11% interest rates, it's a different story. It's much tougher lending and you're going to need much stronger cash flows and maybe dual key or dual income strategies like houses and granny flats or unit blocks to continue growing your property portfolio. But at 6 to 7 to 8% interest rates, it's absolutely still possible to buy and build a multi-million-dollar property portfolio. It's just about optimizing in every area of your journey to get the most out of the capital you have available and to keep building when others would get stuck. Now, if you want some help in building your property portfolio and you're looking to acquire an asset here in Southeast Queensland in the next 3 to 6 months, then head over to purposeproperty.com.au to sit down and book in a free chat with myself. We'll have 30 minutes to talk about your situation, to talk about how we can help you secure a property here in Brisbane, and then talk about the next steps. And if you're not interested in buying a property here in Brisbane, but you're looking to buy and create a multi-million-dollar property portfolio across Australia, then we also offer a course for less than $800. You can pick up the course and sit down with myself, and it's going to run you through hours of content in creating and building that multi-million-dollar property portfolio. So head over to purposeproperty.com.au for those services. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Is it too late to become a property investor and create choices for you and your family? Leave your comments down below, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and click this video over here because YouTube thinks you really like that one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.